Hello.
Good day.
Good day.
Good day, mate.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Very good.
You know, I think that the story from game night doesn't accurately depict the energy in the room. In the video, like the other team.
Oh, you being
did see this?
competitive?
Yeah, of me being competitive. Like I am, but it's because Emma's in the room and she.
But you weren't like that the whole time.
No, it's when it's our turn. I'm locked in. I'm paying attention, and I just think that it didn't accurately depict me as a game person.
Okay, well,
I am competitive, but my whole thing is when there's another competitive person in the room that's a sore winner, that's when I need them to lose. Welcome to Disrespectfully
with Katie Maloney
and Dayna Kathan.
Unapologetically,
We're here to do what we want to do.
spilling the tea.
Babe, you're going to see the power of women. Like,
Disrespectfully.
like
I
she's
feel
that way.
that.
Janet's that way. I'll say it to Janet's face. She knows that. Me and her got in a big fight a few years ago during a game night. And I was like, I'm literally never speaking to you again.
because I just want games to be fun and like you decide on whatever the rules are and then you move on for it. But I learned how much that can't exist when you try to play Uno with a new person.
Oh yeah, you gotta be careful. I think you have to someone has to match your freak, and I'm never denying I'm not competitive. I am. I like to win. I like playing games. I want everyone to be focused. But I'm not a sore winner. I will shake the other team's hand. I was like, good on ya.
Good.
Emma is just such a little snatch when we're playing games. Like me and her always end up on opposite teams too, and she also is someone that specifically likes to get a rise out of me, and I know she knows how to do it and push those buttons. And I'm just like,
she is that type of person. Also, hi Emma.
hi
But
Emma.
she's that person. Like she likes to give me shit.
Yeah, and I love that about her. That I'm that way in some ways, but when it comes to game night, you got to be careful who you do that with because some people might not take it too well, and I am that person.
No, listen, I'm here for it too because I like that type of like ribbing and kind of like riffing the bit with people. That's like my love. I told you my love language is making fun. If I'm making fun of you and teasing you, I love you.
Absolutely. But yeah, it's just sometimes her and I have challenges during games. Speaking of Emma, I do want to shout this out really quick. Emma and Ali Belair have a new podcast that just launched. It's called Everyone is Invited, and you guys should go take a listen if you're looking for Emma. You guys know just from us talking about her, she's FaceTime before on this pod.
I knew Ali from TikTok, and then I met her in person because she is just hilarious, and I enjoy like watching her kind of speak her mind.
Yeah, I'm really excited for them, and go take a listen. Go take a listen. And I also know that Emma's like salivating about this right now. She loves when we talk about her.
Oh,
So.
yes, she does.
Good for her. So I'm really excited for them.
I have a bit of a high thought to share with you because it's definitely something I think about when I'm high. It's one of those types of things. But also I've seen some discussion about it online. Do you know what aphantasia is?
I feel like I should, but it's not
It's
coming to me right now.
It means complete lack of mental or imagery, no mind's eye, phantasia, or normal ability to visualize in your imagination. Hyperphantasia, mental imagery. So okay, here's the thing. When you think of an object, like an apple is a commonly used example, are you picturing what an apple looks like, or is it just blank? Like
I'm looking at a photo of an apple in my brain right now.
Right. So you see some type of imagery. There is some type of physical representation of apple. There are some people that nothing.
So then so you're just a white void? Like what does it look like then?
I don't know.
Do you see it?
I see it. Maybe sometimes I picture myself like it's like I'm holding an apple, but I'm with my eyes closed. I'm not like hallucinating an apple like in this actual physical space, but like I can close my eyes and like picture what an apple looks like in my hand. I could picture the color. I can see the little like apple stem. Maybe some, impurities in it. Like, so I mean, like I can picture what a fucking apple looks like, but some people like, they don't, the same way people don't have like internal dialogue. Finding out how different people's minds work is just something I can ruminate for like hours on when I'm high.
Allison, do you picture things?
I can spin it around in my head.
There you go.
Max can't see it.
So what is she? So
my God. Okay, Allison's wife can't see. Okay, wait.
So what happens when she's when she's thinking about an apple?
There's like a scale you can look at, and like the very bottom end of the scale is like nothing, and then the very top end is like us, where you can like see the apple and stuff. And she's like at a 1 where it's like fuzzy. She's like, I can't, like I know, but I can't see it.
That is because it's also something you've seen a million times in your life. So how can you not see what it looks like?
I think the scarier one to me is the lack of internal monologue because mine is so violent and all the time, and it's why I can't sleep because she just never is quiet.
Is it your voice or is it a different voice?
It's my voice.
Yeah. Okay.
It's my voice, like narrating it. And I'm like, girl, please be quiet. It's the people who just hear, I'm like, what is that like,
so what
to
is this? What's happening?
does it just sound like Tuck Everlasting, like a river in the background and some chimes, like it's just calm?
I don't. That's fucking nuts to me too.
Okay, if you do not have an internal monologue, please write in and let us know what the bit what
Mine's
that's
constantly running. That's like sometimes when I'm talking, I'm mumbling or messing up my words, or my like thoughts are not coming out because I'm thinking about stuff too quickly, or I'm already thinking about something else and trying to finish that thought. It's really hard.
like. Is it your voice
Yes.
too?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. I sound better in my head than I do when I hear myself like on a podcast or recording. I'm like, ooh, I don't sound like that.
Interesting.
But
Okay.
because when I speak, that's what I'm hearing in my head. That's not necessarily what other people hear. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No.
Totally. Are you kidding?
What was your high thought?
My high thought. So I was stoned a few weeks
you
ago,
were thinking
and
about
I
Jeremy's not a name.
say what? I sent Katie an a voice note, and I had turned the lights off my apartment, and I was walking to the bathroom while I was giving her this voice note, and there was a box in front of me that it was pitch black, so I didn't see it. So I kicked into it, and my face went flying forward. I'm so lucky I didn't bang my forehead on the door. So the voice note that I left Katie was like this big chaos that happened, and then it was flat, and then I came back and I was doing my like honking laugh because I was like, my life just flashed before my eyes. But the high thought that I had was when we were all kids, before weed was mainstream and they had all these, curated cute little shops and everything had the exact doses and whatever. So when someone handed you an unassuming cookie back in the early aughts and you ate it and you almost had to go to the hospital because you were so high, I would give anything to go back and have someone tell me the amount that I actually consumed. Like,
Oh yeah, I'd love to know.
you're like, what is it? 200 milligrams? Like what's the dose?
No, we didn't question it. We just
Exactly. But wouldn't you like to know what you were consuming for the way that you were feeling back then?
Yes and no. Like, no, I don't want to know. But for science, yeah.
I was like, and then you were like, wait, this is a high. No, I was like, this is right now live high. I was so stoned, and it was only, and I think it was like a 5. And then I laid down, and it was like, I was a little too, sometimes it's fine and manageable. And then sometimes I feel too high. And so I just felt frightened for like an hour in my bed.
But I mean, we weren't questioning anything. Like people are like, you should take this. It's fun. We're like, period. That's all. We did not ask enough questions back in the day.
No. And also for me, much more serious drugs that people are just taking me. And
That's
I was
what I'm talking about.
okay. Like, that's a stranger. Did you miss that Schoolhouse Rock that was like, hey, don't take drugs from people?
Dude, ground scores. I was like, yeah, here we go.
Literally
things you found on the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, speaking of ground scores, I saw a TikTok, it was obviously, I'm guessing, who knows why I would know this, but I would think it was like 2C or something because it was pink, of a powder bag of someone that was right before TSA. So someone obviously found it on them and just flicked it on the ground. And I was like, look at them leaving it for other people to find. But that was a choice.
Interesting. I have one quick question going back to the aphantasia or hyperphantasia. So if they think about a memory, are they not like, it's not like a little movie playing back in their head? Like, how are they recalling memories, and what does that look like or sound like, or nothing like? I don't know.
I guess write that in also.
Max,
if you have
sorry,
either one of
Allison,
them.
will you ask Max what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to know if she can recall memories in ways that are like pictures or like little movies in her head, or if it's just how do memories look?
And
or if you experience that, can you let us know how your memories come to you if you can't recall images and things like that?
Well, and also this is the Friday episode, so it's our WWDD.
Oh yeah, we
Hometown
have
Hero.
other stuff to talk about.
So please send in any of your hometowns, any of your WWDDs to disrespectfullypod@gmail.com. But also, yeah, and isn't it funny how just by human design, we all just get different shit? Even the way that someone could eat cilantro and love it, and then someone could eat cilantro and think it tastes like soap. Like, and we all have different tastes. It's so weird.
That one always trips me out because I love cilantro.
Extra. Logan has the soap gene.
Nick also loves cilantro, so that works out for us.
Oh yeah.
But
I could eat a bushel of it. I love
what's
cilantro.
the other word for cilantro that always trips me up when I hear it?
I didn't know it had another name.
Coriander.
Oh yeah, like Fleur refers it to coriander.
Like if I have a bottle of seasoning that says coriander, it's a cilantro plant.
Mm-hmm. It's the same thing.
I know nothing. That's what I'm realizing.
Look at educational. Did you know that today you're going to learn something new?
No, I didn't. And you know what? I actually, speaking of educational, I have something really scary to tell you.
Scary?
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm feeling a little bit of a fright because I obviously have a scrolling addiction and I know that it's so bad and I've been comfortable with it just because it's so delightful and whatever. And then I saw this thing from a neurophys perspective and they were basically saying studies that are already coming out in terms of what is happening to our brains. And it's obviously these quick dopamine hits we're getting and all of that. But something I'm more afraid of for the last 6 months or so, I think I've really been struggling because I've always had, and this isn't me trying to be braggy, it's just how I am. I've always had a high vocabulary and I've always been quick-witted and like fast with stuff. And it's because my brain is so moving so fast all the time. And I've noticed a change in myself that I've been like, usually a word just comes to the tip of my tongue and I've been like searching for it. And even when we're podcasting, I've been getting insecure about it because I'm like, normally it's really easy for you to like gather these things, like what's happening with your brain. And I was equating it more to vino, but then, which is also probably part of it. But I actually think it does have to do with my social media consumption. I think it has to do with
I
TikTok.
think it might have more to do with like a cyclical thing like our cycles. Because I feel like there's certain times throughout my cycle that I just am struggling to find words, trying to get my thoughts straight. Like I feel like, I mean, yeah, I'm not saying the social media consumption isn't part of it, but I think it's more biological than that.
Well, I don't know. I've been feeling scared about it. I've been saying it to Raleigh. I've been like, I feel like I'm like scared I have a bigger issue or it's like a prelude to that. But so I'm like hoping it ends up being something more simple. And it is the way that I cannot sit and read a book anymore and I have to listen to it so I can be doing something else. Whereas I used to just be able to, even with like ADHD brain, I could still sit and read a book and like always I have multiple things going on. And I know I'm not alone in this. Like a lot of people are experiencing it, but yeah, it was making me pause and I'm like, okay, at what point do I admit out loud to everyone that I'm on TikTok at least 8 hours a day? That is not an exaggeration. That's, my time at night that I appreciate, but then I'm staying up later than I usually would because I'm doing that. But then all throughout the day, I'm not on it when I'm with other people because just like how I don't like people are on phones at dinner, like I'm very paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I want to go home and get away from the people I love because I just want to be on TikTok and not be talking to anyone. So
I love that too, but brain rot is super real. And I feel like I'm very appreciative when I am very busy and like on the move and on that because I'm definitely on my phone less. So then when I do finally get to like have a little scroll, it feels a little more earned. But like it's being connected to too many people, too many different ideas, too many thoughts. And while that can be a really great thing and make you a more, educated or knowledgeable person about what's happening around here, it too much, too quick, without any time to process it, I think also can tire your brain out and cause it just to like turn to goo.
Like that. Well, I just think that I'm more addicted to that than nicotine. Like that's by far my biggest addiction. So I do think, unfortunately, I'm going to have to change something up, or I don't know if it's going to be like deleting TikTok or locking myself out, or I don't totally know, but it is something I'm cognizant of and feeling a little frightened about.
Yeah.
But we'll see. But the first step is admitting you have a problem. I have many. So, Anywho,
we're not the only ones with problems.
We aren't. Should we...
We gotta get into the episode. First, we'll start with some hometowns.
Give it a little light. You know what? There's one in here that I'm very excited about because this week we talked about... See, that's me. This is my synapses not firing. Glitch in the Matrix. There's a good glitch in the Matrix one here today.
I love that. Okay, well, let's go.
Linny says, "Hello, my beauties. Before I get into my trauma brought on by my third eye, I just want to say how much I love and look forward to your podcast. I've been Team Caney from the first episode of Vanderpump Rules, and I'm so grateful to have been introduced to Dayna through the show because y'all are so the vibe. Finding out that y'all are elder emos and a couple of damn fine witches just fit the bill. Okay, any hoodly-hoos, allow me to tell you about one of my very first memories that I have grown to believe was my first ghostly encounter. Oh, this one's weird. Please keep in mind that I'm now 34 years old as I write this. I was around 2 or 3 years old at the time, and I know this because my sister wasn't born yet. I was staying at my grandparents' house in a blip of a town in Georgia with my parents. I was really scared to sleep alone, so my grandmother said she would sleep with me. I got all cozy, and then I vividly remember a man standing at the window to the left of our bed. I pointed at him, and she got up from the bed and opened the window to let him in. The man climbed in the window, and my grandmother said, "Now, this is our very good friend. He'll stay with you." I was like, this was not the plan. But she left to go back in the family room with my parents and grandfather. The strange man sat in the chair and tried to talk to me and make me laugh, but I was so scared I couldn't focus on anything but leaving the room. He honestly seemed to mean well, but I was so scared I ran from my room, to the other side of the bathroom that connected the two. But when I ran towards the door, he was there making faces at me, trying to get me to laugh. I was like, this isn't funny. I'm It's just a baby. I ended up running down the hall, finally escaping him and getting to the family room, only for the rest of our family to explain how close they are to that man and how much they trust him. My grandmother came to sleep with me again, but the man was nowhere to be found. But when I woke up in the morning. No one ever validates my story, but used to tell it like a memory because it felt so real. I, no joke, spent 20-ish years convinced this really happened. It was about 25 years later, I went to visit my grandfather's office. In my grandfather's office is a picture of the man from that night. He's identical to the memories. He was my grandfather's best friend from childhood and young adulthood until he died tragically in his 30s. He would go on trips with my family, and my mother thought of him like another father. He was a thrill seeker and a joker. He loved to play pranks on people and to make them laugh. My mother also had experiences with him in our childhood home after he passed. They moved to Georgia when she was a preteen from their home in Florida shortly after he passed. The Florida neighbors would call my grandparents about a man that would sit on the chimney of their house, still in the family, whistling on random nights. When my mom returned to Florida, the Florida home a couple months after moving, she was going to bed and said out loud, "Hey, if it's you, the neighbors are seeing, please don't scare me, but let me know it's you." She woke up with all the windows in her room wide open as the door to the balcony that had been deadbolted. She asked her parents if anyone had opened the door, and they were shocked and said no. He also liked to play tricks on my uncle's friends when they came home from college. He has since waved goodbye to my mother from their childhood bedroom window, and no one has seen him since. I have so many more stories, but I feel like this was already super long. Let me know if you want more. Que la vie bye. Lenny Lou.
Oh my God. Wait, I'm obsessed with this story, but also like, it's terrifying.
That's so scary, but I believe her too. Like but the thing is that the grandma was noticing it, like acknowledging that he was there. I don't know if I've ever talked about this here before, but there's a memory I have from when I was 3 or 4 because I have such vivid childhood memories. I woke up in the middle of the night and I could see the silhouette of a man over me, and I knew I didn't know him, and he like bent down, but I couldn't really make out his facial features, and he was whispering to me, and we had bunk beds, so I know Brittany was in the room with me, but he was saying something to me over and over, and I kept going, what, like trying to hear him. Like I don't remember feeling scared, but that's where the memory stops, and like I know that it was real, but I don't know what it was.
That's really freaky.
Isn't that a weird one? So it kind of reminded me of that when I was reading it.
Yeah. I mean, I just imagine like looking out your window and seeing some like man on the chimney.
Whistling?
But also like the grandma like opening up the window to let this guy's going to come in and hang out with you. Like, Nana, you need to provide a little more context. Maybe an introduction.
And also the whole like, this isn't what I signed up for. I thought you were coming to sleep with me, girl. What do you mean? You're going to leave me in here with a ghost? Okay.
It's such an odd choice. I don't know.
It's like that TikTok I recently saw. I think you saw too, the Appalachia. It was like a girl was like closing up the farm for the night. She was like videoing this baby cow, and she went to turn and there was fully a figure standing, and she went and turned and stopped talking and didn't run, but got to her car, and there was like the Appalachia of it all. And people were like, "You left it with the cow?"
I saw one recently too, where this girl, she backed up from the camera and she was doing something, and then all of a sudden you hear a blood curdling scream, and she like totally is just like startled, and then just like comes and grabs the camera, and the caption was like, "And that's life living in the Appalachian."
Do you like she was trying to stay calm and not acknowledge it, even though it's like you feel like she was just like, "Oh, let's go."
Yep. But you knew that like she was very caught off guard.
The air is officially crisp. The Mariah Carey defrost cycle has begun, and comfort is now the best gift of all.
Yes. And Quince makes holiday dressing and gifting actually feel effortless. Their pieces are luxurious, timeless, and the prices insane.
I am obsessed with their $50 Mongolian cashmere sweaters. Like, that's a real sentence. $50 cashmere. I wear mine literally every day now that it's chilly.
Same. And their Italian wool coats. The cut feels totally designer. Like she has her life together and drinks martinis, but without the painful designer markup.
And here's the thing. The reason the prices are so good is because Quince works directly with ethical top-tier factories. No middleman, so everything is 50% less than similar high-end brands.
So smart. I've got my eye on their silk skirts and down outerwear for gifts, but also for me. I'm in my one for them and one for me era.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Quince is something for everyone on your list, whether you're gifting or upgrading your own cozy layers before the holiday chaos kicks in.
Step into holiday season with layers made to feel good, look polished, and last from Quince. Perfect for gifting or keeping for yourself. Go to quince.com/disrespectfully for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too.
That's QUINCE.com/disrespectfully to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/disrespectfully. Okay, we're going there because women's health should not be a taboo topic anymore.
Facts. O Positive is literally on a mission to support women with real deal products that target real symptoms from your first period all the way through menopause. And they are crushing it. They have multiple #1 products in Target, and Urovaginal Probiotic is one of the top 5 supplements on Amazon.
And Uro is specifically formulated to support vaginal health. We're talking helping maintain healthy vaginal pH, a healthy scent, comfortable discharge, and just overall feeling good in your own body.
Because life happens. Sex, working out, hormones, periods, all that can throw your balance out of whack. And uncomfortable moments like odor or discharge, they happen to so many women, and we just don't talk about it enough.
I love that Uro uses clinically backed lactobacillus probiotic strains plus prebiotics, so it's not just covering up a problem, it's helping support the root of vaginal wellness.
And women notice results. Uro has thousands of 5-star reviews with people saying they feel more confident, more comfortable day to day, and even have a better time in the bedroom. Wink, wink.
And honestly, that confidence hits different when your body feels balanced again. This is about comfort, confidence, and taking care of yourself without shame.
Take proactive care of your health and head to opositive.com/DRF or enter DRF at checkout for 25% off your first purchase.
That's opositiv.com/DRF for 25% off.
Danielle says, hello, ladies. Although I'm deeply infatuated by you both, I must say I came across you on Vanderpump through none other than the gorgeous Ariana Madix. She graced my screen later in my life after watching Love Island Season 7. I saw her and immediately started stalking her on social media. LOL, she's just gorgeous. Then TikTok showed me a clip from Season 10 reunion of her unleashing her glorious wrath upon an unfortunate, disgusting soul. And I said, insert heart eyes here. That's when I discovered VPR because I needed more of her. And that's where I met you both, you queens. And here we are. So Ariana, if you're hearing this, I'm your #1 fan. Thanks for introducing me to these ladies. I love the podcast. It keeps me sane. And I thank your parents for creating you both. You're all amazing and beautiful people. Anyways, I'm here to tell you about the time I met my now man and father of my kids and how the first time we did the dirty was on top of a Jack in the Box restaurant rooftop. Long story short, he was the night manager and I was a little old kitchen cook, hee. It was the 4th of July and slow, so he invited me up to see the lights on top. I was so nervous, but I'll never not try something once. The next thing I know, he kissed me and we were groping and then my pants were on the floor. Romantic, right? Also, he was your boss? Okay. Just saying. Sex under the firework lights. We had our headsets still on and heard a ding. He actually pressed a button and started taking their order while inside of me. Oh, sir, LOL.
T.
I said, we have to go. And I rushed down the ladder to the bathroom to wash my hands. And needless to say, the customer got a free shake. LOL. That is all. Okay, bye.
Okay, last night at game night, one of the things was having sex with your socks on. Like one of the things that people wrote. I think that you're having an original experience.
Unique, original, never done before, never duplicated.
He jacked in her box.
Wow.
Allison, not the episode title. He jacked in her box.
Oh, yuck. Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm glad it worked out for you guys. And like you have the kids now and I think that because otherwise that's assault, brother.
Yeah, there's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Incredible.
Really quick, I have an update from Max's brain.
Oh.
Asking about memories. She can vaguely picture a few memories. There's nothing she can genuinely picture, like full color and crisp. If she gets anything at all, it's hazy and hard to grasp. She feels like her brain is empty. Where is it going? And then she sent me a colander picture.
So does
Not a colander.
Do they have memories? How do they know it's a memory if they can't see it?
Right.
She has a notoriously not great memory, but
Okay.
like she remembers like, I don't know, she's like a left side brainer. Like I feel like she remembers like more words.
Interesting.
Okay.
I wonder if people who have this phenomenon don't have good memories. Like in the same way that I remember all of my dreams and they're all very vivid. I wonder if it's because I'm at the high end of the spectrum of like I can watch my whole life like a movie.
Same.
Interesting.
That is really interesting.
The colander's so sad to me.
So like
comes
is
in,
that,
it goes out.
just Oh,
Poor Max. Also, shout out Max. We got to meet her for the first time last week, and she was absolutely lovely.
We love you guys.
Anonymous says, Crop Dust Hometown Hero.
Oh, no.
Hi, Katie and Dana. OG Vanderpump Rules fan. Fun fact. When I first met my husband, he watched all 9 seasons of VPR from the beginning in a 2-month span right before season 10 came out, so he could watch it with me and knew everything that was going on. That's how I knew he was the one for me.
That is love,
That
honestly,
is-
when you can watch those kind of shows with the one you love.
Well, remember when Tom used to talk shit to Ariana about watching Love Island, and now she's the host of Love Island? It's kind of like that, you know? It was written in the
yeah.
stars.
I love that, like, Nick, we can watch, like, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and he, like, finished the season 1 because he didn't for so long before we could start the season 2. Like, I'm just like, I love getting to, like, watch those with him.
No, it's so sweet. And I think when people try to act above that shit, like, sometimes you have to take on your partner's interest. It's okay to have separate interests, but, like, sometimes that is love showing up if it's not your thing, but you're like,
Oh, no, it's very much his thing, too.
No, I know. I'm just saying in general, like, and also they always get sucked in, but.
Yes.
Any hoodie who, I have a crop dust story for you. After listening to the recent pod about the girl that crop dusted her friends in the haunted hotel, I knew I had to write in. I work in the, oh my God, this is so horrifying. I work in the OR and surgery. After we were done for the day, we were cleaning up one of the rooms. I was mopping in the very back of the room when my tummy started rumbling. I knew that I had to let it out. I let it rip and thought to myself, oh no, this is a bad one. I continued to mop from the back of the OR to the door. I could sense that the smell was lingering and I immediately finished mopping. When my other coworkers went back in the OR to finish up, I could hear them all saying, oh my God, what is that smell? It's burning my nose. I ran down the hall and started busting out laughing so hard I was crying. When I calmed down, I went back into the room and they were still talking about it. One coworker asked if I smelled it, and I chuckled, yeah, I did. What was that? And blamed it on the anesthesia provider that was in the room working. This was about 3 months ago, and they still don't know it was me. They still bring it up sometimes, and I giggle so hard. The only person that knows is my husband. He giggles, and he feels their pain since he lives with my toots every day. I'll take this one to the grave. Love you, ladies. Keep being cool. XOXO. Here's the thing, because I've talked about this before. I will blame anyone else. And I do not make as much of a scene when I smell a bad toot because I'm like, someone is embarrassed right now. They're having a hard, I just try to separate myself from it. Working in the OR, back in my medical device sales days, this happened to me once. I was standing with 2 coworkers in the back. Surgery was happening, but there were certain parts that we were active in and then there's also waiting also. So it was in like one of the waiting periods and it was a long surgery. So we'd been there and I had to go and I had let out the tiniest toot accidentally and I was like, oh no. And it ended up being a nuclear situation. And both of them stopped at the same, and it was 2 men. Both of them stopped at the same time and looked at me and looked at each other and like, who was that? And I was like, it was you. What do you mean? And then afterwards, one of them, who was nice, came to me and was like, hey, I can watch the room if you need to go to the bathroom or anything real quick. Like I could tell he was trying to be sweet about it, but I was like, literally so mortified. But anyway, I tried to gaslight the fuck out of them.
Well, I always get on planes with the people who have to shit their pants so bad, and then like one time, and then it's just like it sticks in the air, and you can like taste it. It's so fucking at that point, no, I'm literally gonna be like, either go to the bathroom or I don't know, knock it off. Like this is insane.
No, I mean it's horrifying, but also it's just like with parents who have screaming kids on plane. That parent's having a bad time. When I have dealt it, I am having a bad time.
No, that's what, but please go shit and stop fluffing all over the place. Like that means you have to go poop. Go take care of your situation so I don't have to sit in it. Like I'm sitting in your
fluffing. I haven't heard that since 1995. Let's bring that back with toots.
Well,
fluffing.
because I'm trying to get in the habit of saying that because you don't like fart. Stassi doesn't like fart. Stassi says fluff. You say toot. So
she doesn't like fart either.
No.
Yeah, because it's a violent word. Okay.
Great. Anyway, having to adjust my vocabulary for everyone else's comfort. Okay. Hannah says, hi, Dana and Katie. Huge fan from England who loves listening to the pod on the way to work. Thanks for making me more confident to speak my mind. A creepy story for you both. When I was young and in primary school, me and my friend Beth saw something that scarred us for years and I still can't really explain. Our school was located in the countryside, so during breaks and lunches, we were free to wander around the fields and countryside area around the perimeter of the school. One day we found an old shed hidden away and locked up, and it gave us the creeps. The windows were dusty, and we stood on some boxes to look through them. We both took turns to look inside, and horrified, looked at each other and said, did you see what I saw? The image still burned in my mind, although it made no sense to me then and even less sense now. There were piles of hands and feet piled up in the shed in various stages of decay.
What?
We immediately came to the conclusion that someone on the school staff was a serial killer and argued about what we were going to do. We wrote down everything in a notebook and decided to keep it a secret and never return.
What?
We both had horrible nightmares for years after, too scared to ever go back. We often talked about the hands and feet, and dreamt of them grabbing our ankles and appearing outside of our upper story windows. Even during our teenage years, we would think back and try to come up with explanations. Old gloves and boots? We just knew that wasn't what we saw. After secondary school, Beth disappeared from the face of the earth. Years later, I saw her brother in a pub, and he told me that he hadn't seen her for years either, and she had joined a religious cult and cut off her family. Extremely odd for a girl who was a strong atheist our whole lives. I still think about what we saw and the fact that we should have said something to somebody. I know I have the notebook somewhere in my loft, but just not sure I ever want to open up that Pandora's box again. So I'll let you decide. Overactor kid's imagination, serial killer staff, something paranormal. I'd love to laugh it off, but I never got rid of the sinister fear I feel when I think of it. Hope you enjoyed the odd tale from rural England. We love you here. Please tour nearby soon. Love, Spookily, Hannah.
What do you think?
Oh, I think it's a little bit of both. It's definitely like very sinister, but like I don't think that it was your overactive imagination. I think sometimes the brain does try to protect us from trauma, so like it will maybe confuse you or make memories seem a little bit more dreamlike and not have like real traction. Yeah, you absolutely should have said something just to like get confirmation or see it through. But I understand like when you're young and like
You're a kid.
yeah, but like that was going to freak you out. I'm very concerned about what happened to your friend. That's insane.
There's multiple parts of this that are horrifying.
Yeah.
My brain immediately goes, but you're saying like various stages of decay. So I'm like,
It wasn't boots.
I'm like, were they props for like a play? Or like I
Locked in a dusty shed.
No, exactly. So that's me trying to make sense of it. I don't know, but I believe you.
There's a cold case somewhere that this would really bust it wide open.
That is so bizarre and not at all where I saw that going. Oh, so that is scary.
It's giving it.
Yeah.
Some Stephen King shit.
The various stages of decay makes me like, ugh. Nut Grease says, glitch in the Matrix.
Oh my
Hi,
God.
ladies. Longtime Vanderpump fan, and I love you both and listen to your pod every day that it drops. Makes my car rates better and bedtime when my mind is going insane. So a glitch in the Matrix story that I have is a small one, but it's still weird. I was at my parents' one day digging through a bin of my old toys and such in the basement. That's when I came across one of my old Bobby Jack monkey keychains that I remember having when I was a little girl. Do you know what that is? Okay, actually, sorry. I meant to Google it because it wasn't familiar to me. Bobby Jack monkey. Oh, yeah. I recognize that.
I recognize it.
I couldn't tell you why I knew that, but
I didn't have that stuff, but I recognize it. Yeah.
it kind of reminds me of like the Happy Bunny of it all. Like there's like,
Or like Paul Frank
yeah,
or something. Yeah.
I don't know what it's from though. I freaking love Bobby Jack, and I remember that keychain. I was so happy to have found it, of course. I put it in my pocket to take home with me. I definitely forgot about it in my pocket because when I went to wash my clothes a few days later, I found the keychain and I took it out so I could display it somewhere in my kitchen with all my other fun knickknacks. But when I went to the kitchen to put it on one of my shelves, there was the Bobby Jack keychain sitting staring me in the face, but I was holding the keychain in my hand as well. I knew I wanted to put it in that spot because I had other monkey figures in that corner, but I know for a fact I did not have another Bobby Jack keychain, and I definitely did not put it on the shelf already. Mind you, I lived alone in that apartment for maybe 2 years, and when I found the keychain, it was in a long lost bin of toys buried at my parents' dirty basement. My heart definitely dropped, thinking maybe I'm crazy and I just forgot to put it up, but how would I explain having two? I don't know, and I don't have an explanation for it at all, and it really freaked me out. But I definitely am a believer in these sorts of things and definitely have a ghostly presence following me since I was a little girl, but that's a whole different story. Or many stories, should I say. But at least I have two really cool Bobby Jack keychains, one for keeping and one for putting on my keyring. Hope this finds you, and I hope you enjoy.
This is
Love
what I
you
mean
guys.
about
Okay, thanks. Bye.
something so specific that you only like you know that you only have one.
Correct.
And it's in a very specific place, but then all of a sudden it shows up and now you have two. It's not just like it gets misplaced and now it's found again. It's like now you have two.
This is not a small glitch in the Matrix. This is
No.
like the definition of a glitch in the Matrix. This, again, would make me feel psychotic, but that's such a specific random thing. And you're holding it and you look up and it's looking at you.
Because in one reality, one dimension, you kept it with you.
Yeah.
But in this one, it was left behind at your parents. But now this it freaks me out.
No, it's so crazy. So that was so good. Thank you for writing that in.
You cannot explain.
You can't explain it.
Damn. Anonymous says, "Hey, Katie and Dana, you guys make my day brighter, and thank you for that. I know this is a long one, so buckle up. Also, it's not long."
Love when they do that.
Okay, so I'm going to start with the outcome of the story, plus a few trigger warnings for mental health and self-harm and hospital psychiatric wards. So you've been warned. The outcome is that I have an amazing husband, the most supportive friends and family, the cutest puppy, and 100 milligrams of daily Zoloft.
Hey.
I was empowered to get a handle on my mental health, learn I have pure OCD, and be able to remain the genuinely happy girly I've always been. There was a light at the end of the tunnel. There's always a way out, and ask for help because you are not alone. Any hoodly-hoo, onto the story. I admitted myself into a hospital because I was having such intense feelings of dread, panic, and self-harm. I was not depressed, so I had no idea where these feelings were stemming from. I ended up being on my staycation for 5 days because unbeknownst to me, they don't discharge people on weekends. And boy, did shit get crazy. Other than the fact that everyone of varying mental health situations stay on the same floor, there's not much to do other than chat, puzzle, color, play Uno, read, and watch crime documentaries. For some reason, that was the TV of choice. One night around 7:30, a man who was in psychosis decided to jump the nurse's stand and punch an on-duty nurse. A handful of us were in the community room having a string cheese snack, watching out of the big glass window when this happened. So naturally, we closed the doors to protect ourselves. A full scene was breaking out with security and nurses trying to chase him down. And it felt like all of us in the community were like fish in the dentist's office of Finding Nemo. At one point, I turned to the girl next to me and was like, "What do you think we look like to everyone on the other side of the glass right now?" And she was like, "Literally, we look like mental patients." And, other fun stories that I won't get into include my roommate was schizophrenic and conversed with dead children. She also refused to get medication one night because big pharma, which is fair. Being gaslit by a nurse that I didn't have said roommate.
That's a good idea for someone in a mental facility to make them think that they are seeing people.
And men walking around naked during visiting hours. Okay, love you, bye. A girl who wants people to feel less alone. Well, thank you for that. That was very wholesome and also very
upsetting.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And also shout out to nurses that deal with that. Like you're getting assaulted and you're just doing your job. Ugh.
They are earth angels.
Oh,
honestly. I could not do that job.
No, I mean, it's a little too close to comfort for me too. I shouldn't be in that environment unless I actually need to be in that environment. But yeah, that's so upsetting.
Anyway, let's WWDD.
Can I tell you something right now I'm struggling with my OCD? This comes out with random intrusive thoughts. My friends just moved into a house that has a hot tub on the back deck. And I've heard about this once when I was little, so it does happen, but your hair can get stuck if the jets are on. Mm-hmm. So if you have long hair, you should be careful of that. But like, that's literally and then once you're stuck in there, they have to like cut your hair. You will die. Like you get sucked into it. I have been not able to sleep at night, picturing myself getting stuck in the jet. And I'm like, I know I'm not going to get stuck in the jet because I'm going to put my hair up, but I cannot stop. That's my recent rumination. And I keep playing it over and over. And every time they bring up going in the hot tub, I'm like, anyway, so that's what it's like to live in my brain.
I know. I have those same thoughts.
I'm like, that's not going to happen. But I literally cannot stop thinking about it.
No,
like,
all that machine that grinds up literally everything. And it has like the things that like, it's like two wheels that are turning into each other. And you can stick anything down there. I just think about like somehow getting caught. And I don't know. I hate it. I hate it so bad.
Meanwhile, someone that also has OCD is listening to this and they're like, well, great. Now I have to think of those two scenarios. I'm so sorry that we're doing that too.
Sorry for inviting in the thoughts, but anyway.
I mean, goddamn, there's just, out of all the things that I deal with from a mental health perspective, that really is probably the most challenging because I just cannot fucking turn it off. It's such a bummer. But if you also have it, you are not alone.
Yep.
Well, let's solve some problems because we are well enough to do that. Anonymous says, WWDD from an anonymous, unpaid, and pissy air traffic controller. First of all, hello to you two absolute bombshells. Please let me start off with the obligatory and very honest opening you all hear all the time. I'm a longtime fan of Vanderpump Rules and high-key lover of you both. Love every single stinking second of this pod, not exaggerating when I say that every time I hear the opening of y'all's podcast, it brings me so much joy and relief as taking off my bra every day after work. Any hoodly-hoo, this is a mix of Heauxmetown Hero and WWDD. For the Heauxmetown Hero part, I'd like to just throw a huge shout out to my fellow air traffic controllers who have been showing up to work and providing a crucial service to the aviation community and traveling public.
Yeah.
The shutdown is yet another unprecedented time, and woo, is that shit getting old or what? Our past 2 paychecks have been zero, and the one right before that was a partial paycheck. That kind of leads me into my WWDD. This shutdown has brought the most stress and honestly the most anger of my adult life thus far. That mixed with losing my soul dog a month before all of this went down has sent me into a spiral, to say the least. I align with y'all on everything I've heard on this podcast, social, economic, and political views. I've never felt so angry, disappointed, and frankly scared to be an American. And I genuinely hate saying that because I used to feel a lot of pride in it. My parents are both veterans, and they've been agreeing and saying that this isn't what they fought for. All that being said, do either of you have any tips or tricks for staying positive through this shit show? Getting out of your head, coping with what feels like imploding doom, shit, I don't know, even a solid side hustle. Because at this point, this girlie could use the paycheck. Really wish I could smoke a fat blizzy right now, but apparently we still can't even get high if we aren't getting paid. Make it make sense. Sorry for the novel. I tend to ramble when there's too many big emotions that seem impossible to articulate. Thank you ahead of time if you did read this, and thank you for bringing so much joy and realness, especially during these times. Okay, love you, bye. First of all, that wasn't too long.
First of all, we really commend and thank you and all of your fellow colleagues for the work that you did. Like it's maddening. We feel your stress and frustration, and yeah.
And I'm sure they wrote this in before the shutdown has now, is over. But still, the fact that having a partial paycheck and then 2 0 paychecks and you're doing your job, I'm so angry for you guys.
Like, see red.
And you do such an important job that very few people are qualified to do. Like the number, and we could take this back to Reagan firing all the. Don't get me started. Anywho, I would say, I think that you are not alone. Obviously, if you align with us on this, these are all things that we think and feel, but you're taking it a step further because you're actually an air traffic controller. So I just want to validate those feelings for you really quickly. And I think that's something that I'm struggling with also, because you said like you feel scared and angry, but you used to feel pride, in country. Like, I think that maybe gets lost in the sauce sometimes, that I love this country, which is why that I feel so angry and the need to critique it when I see.
That is sort of the collective frustration. It's just like, we used to be such an amazing, united country. I mean, not that it didn't come with its differences, but I think that's what everyone is dealing with.
Right. So for me right now, it's definitely a balancing act between leaning in and seeing what's happening in the world and using the platform that we have to discuss those issues, but also not going insane, because there's so much rot and so many infuriating things happening every day. So I think the biggest piece of advice I could give is do your best to amplify the small things that bring you joy. And that's whether it's happening in your personal life or things you see news stories of good news that happens. I think that it's really easy to get lost in the cycle of all the horror show we're all collectively experiencing, but there are good things out there. So try really hard to just celebrate those moments. And also when something little that's good happens in your life, really, really lean into it. Like when I have a small W or someone around me does that I love, like I just am really in the mood to celebrate anything I can right now because we need it. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's a marathon, not a sprint as a collective. So if you just completely burn out because everything is so awful, I also think that's part of their strategy. The powers that be right now, they want to burn people out. And I do think one of the ways that we can combat that and protest is to find joy in difficult times right now.
Yeah, I think it's a huge moment to take inventory of our lives, of the things that are really wonderful, big and as small as possible as they may be, just to like kind of hone in and focus on that and have a little bit of like gratitude amidst all of this chaos. And even like you were saying, like finding like little joys and like little wins, like even if it's just like watching like your favorite comfort movie, watch all your favorite comfort movies, like as a mental break, but also just as a dopamine hit. I think just doing things that are good for you. And I know like right now people feel guilty about enjoying certain things or leaning into certain things because of the state of everything. And that's totally fair as well. But like if it helps save you and takes care of you on a mental and emotional level, then do it.
Well, like they say on planes, like you have to put your mask on first. And yeah. I do think that is I get that guilt. I harbor that guilt. I totally understand it. But yeah, if you burn out, who can you help?
Yeah, because I mean, right now people are like, people are talking about this and concerning themselves with like this TV show or this movie. It's like, yes, we have to.
Yeah.
We have to like not pretend like it's all normal, but just like we cannot just sit in that rot that exists outside of our doorstep every single day. Like I think we have to just find joy where we can.
I'm really glad you're getting paid again, and that's fucking bullshit. Scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more, experts who are ready to help you take your business to the next level.
With more than 2 decades of experience, Upwork has a simple and ambitious goal to pioneer a better way of working.
Companies at every single stage turn to Upwork to get things done and find more flexibility in the way they staff key projects and initiatives by accessing a global marketplace filled with top talent in IT, web dev, AI, design, admin support, marketing, and more.
Posting a job on Upwork is easy. With no cost to join, you can register, browse freelancer profiles, get help drafting a job post, or even book a consultation.
From there, you connect with freelancers that get you and can easily hire them to take your business to the next level. Upwork makes the entire process easier, simpler, and more affordable with industry-low fees.
Post a job today and hire tomorrow with Upwork. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free.
That's Upwork.com to post your job for free and connect with top talent ready to help you grow your business. That's UPWORK.com, Upwork.com.
The holidays are here, and my place looks like I tried to decorate while blindfolded. There's glitter, pine needles, whatever that sticky stuff on the counter is. I don't even want to talk about it.
Ugh, same. That end of year chaos really shows up in the house, which is why I've started using Heauxmetown. It's honestly the easiest way to book trusted cleaners online. No stress, no pretending I suddenly love deep cleaning.
And the best part is they make it affordable. You can actually get someone who knows what they're doing instead of me just pushing dirt around and calling it a day.
If you're hosting, or even if you're just trying to survive the holiday season without tripping over wrapping paper, Heauxmetown is a lifesaver.
Take home cleaning off your plate this holiday season by using Heauxmetown. Head to Heauxmetown.com/disrespectfully to get your first 3 hours of cleaning for only $19. That's HOMEGLOW.com/disrespectfully.
Head to Heauxmetown.com/disrespectfully to get your first 3 hours of cleaning for only $19. Thanks so much to Heauxmetown for sponsoring this episode.
Well, the holidays are here, which means travel, parties, family time, and we need bras that can survive all that, or at least I do.
Exactly. Normally, I know the minute people usually get home with bras, they just take them off, launch across the room, but honey love, you literally forget you're wearing it.
The support is real and totally wireless. No wires poking you, no straps digging in, no awkward adjusting like you're just trying to solve a puzzle in public.
And they're smooth under everything. Cozy sweaters, cute holiday dresses, even those sparkly New Year's outfits that show every line.
My go-to right now is the crossover bra. It's lightweight, it lifts, and I can go from the airport to a party or to the couch and never want to take it off.
And can we talk about the Cloud Embrace bra? It's sold out in a few days. It feels like you're wearing a cloud, but with actual shape. If you love underwire support but hate the poking, it's your girl.
Plus, they make shapewear and leggings that don't roll down or roll up, which feels like a holiday miracle to me.
Treat yourself or someone special to the most comfortable and innovative bras on earth this holiday season. Save 20% off site-wide at honeylove.com/disrespectfully. Use our exclusive link to get 20% off.
After your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Celebrate the season feeling confident and comfortable with Honey Love. Karina says, hi, first, I want to make it known how much I love this podcast and you both. I'd love to get some advice from you, and I'm sorry in advance if it's too much. My sister confided in me about a month ago and told me she caught her husband having an affair with a coworker of his. She said they're working things out and he's basically in the doghouse right now and trying to do everything to please her. She has a baby with him and a 12-year-old from her first marriage. She also told me that she's hanging out with a guy friend of hers that she's known for 14 years. This is the guy she would have ended up with if she didn't marry the second one. He offered to drive us to a concert at Hollywood Bowl this past weekend, and I agreed, even though I felt super uncomfortable because I didn't want to pay the Uber. I'm very conflicted because I love my sister and I understand that she's going through a hard time with her cheating ass husband. I just can't justify what she's also doing by bringing this other guy along. I literally saw them kiss goodbye after dropping us off and it made me want to gag. He also has a girlfriend and kids himself. I'm really disgusted by everything and I hate being put in the middle of it. What do you think I should do? Best, Karina. First of all, Karina, I'm very sorry that you're having to deal with any of this. People are really fucking messy out in this world. And I think you really have to establish a very, very good boundaries with this, because obviously it's your sister. Obviously you care about her. You want to be there for her. You want to be a support system for her, but she's kind of playing with fire right now and you're getting caught in the crosshairs because you know everything that's happening. And I would be honest with her. If you could just say like, I don't support this. I don't agree with this. I think if you can't work things out with your husband, if you're not happy with he's doing it, then end it. You don't need to be going off and doing the same thing because at this point you don't have any moral high ground to say like anything about what your husband's doing. You want to fight fire with fire, do that on your own time and don't involve anybody else. But like, I don't agree with your actions and I don't want to be involved. I don't want to be around this person. I don't want to hear about it. I want you to be an adult and get your shit figured out for yourself and also for your children.
Yeah, I think especially considering the guy that she's seeing has a partner and kid, it's like, well, you're doing that to someone else, but especially because you're now involved to the point that you are hanging out or spending time with this person, you're well within your right to just say, I echo everything Katie just said, setting boundaries. And I don't know if she's trying to punish her husband or whatever, but it's just like there are kids involved. There's multiple couples. Why do you want to make this more difficult or messier than it needs to be? So perhaps just expressing that and saying like, I support you. I love you. But where is this coming from in you? Because it seems like you just want to hurt him at that point, maybe get a divorce then. But either way, whatever you do, I don't want to be involved in it. So like he's not going to be driving us to any more concerts anytime soon.
Update us.
Yeah, keep us posted though, because we'll take the mess.
Yeah.
Okay, this one's kind of a challenging one, but I picked it for a really specific reason. Anonymous says, hello, Coven leaders. All the accolades for your Vanderpump Rules awesomeness and being perfectly yourselves. Let me preface this by saying I'm a smidge not your normal listener. I'm a 47-year-old old school Southern girl raised in a Christian purity culture rules environment. While all my upbringing still holds a lot of truth and meaning to me, raising kids in these times has swayed my current views. A little background. I've been married to my college sweetheart for over 25 years. We are still so in love, and he is the best husband, father, and friend anyone could ask for. We have 3 of the most amazing offspring, the second of which is why I'm writing in today. Our daughter has been in what seems to be a loving, exclusive homosexual relationship for over 2 years now. While initially we were all skeptical, thinking surely this is a passing thing, a little dabble here, a little dabble there, I'm not sure that is what we're dealing with any longer. They seem to be very strong and in love despite geographic and career challenges. We have absolutely loved and supported our daughter physically, financially throughout this relationship against the advice of some of our relatives and friends. We have welcomed her partner into our home and lives and loving the person she is herself. My question is, how do we completely love and give our daughter exactly what she needs in this stage of her life while maybe having an inkling of a hope she will one day be in an equally fulfilling heterosexual relationship? Is this something that should be on our radar? She still doesn't refer to herself as a lesbian, but bisexual. I totally understand this is not your typical WWDD, but as in every single episode listener, I'd love to hear yours and Allison's views on what this loving trying to get with the times mom should do. You guys are so amazing and touch our hearts with your candor and wisdom. Signed, a mom who just wants to do what is right. Okay. So I actually picked this for a specific reason, especially as a queer woman. When we were talking earlier about being able to bridge the aisle, I actually think that is in multiple areas of life. And I have to be honest, it was a difficult one for me to read, not because I think your heart is in the right place. You sound like a lovely person, and it sounds like you want to maybe move away from some of the ways that you were raised and have more of an understanding and whatnot. But with that, I wanted to give you some honest feedback, again, as someone who is queer and, can understand, I'm sure, how this is challenging for your daughter to be on the receiving end of that. I want to point out, you were talking about your friends and families against their advice. Imagine having people in your corner telling you that your daughter is in a healthy, loving relationship and it's just because it's a gay relationship. People having something to say about it is really bothersome to me and should, I think, be a moment of pause for you, of reflecting on the people that are around you. And especially when we're talking about Christian values and whatever, I mean, isn't the basis of that supposed to be being a good person? And I know there's
loving thy neighbor
and the whole thing. But something that you said, I would love you to unpack and perhaps understand some of your biases and unlearn the whole hoping for a heterosexual relationship. Because here's the thing, your daughter could end up leaving this partner that she has a great loving relationship and end up in a heterosexual relationship that is subpar with someone that isn't as good to her, that someone, like, it's not a gold standard just because they're in a heterosexual relationship. It doesn't mean it's going to be a good relationship. It just means it would be a more traditional relationship. I also want you to unpack why you're holding out for that. Is it because you think your daughter's life will be easier and you want her to have a better life, or is it for your own comfort? Because for me, I think two things can coexist, but based on the background that you're coming from, I feel like it's not at all about your daughter's life and her quality of life. I think it's about your comfort and dealing with your friends and your relatives and bigots. Honestly, these values are stemmed in bigotry. And I actually love that you listen to our show, and I love that you wrote in. And based on how you described this, I'm kind of surprised that you're a listener, but I'm glad that you are, and you are welcome here. And I want this to be a learning moment. And I wish that more people would be open to hearing these different perspectives. I think it's clear that you are a great mom who loves your kid, but the way that you can love them is to love all of them. That is the kind of love that children are seeking. I'm so happy for her that she is in this relationship. And if she wants to identify as bisexual, you can be in a gay relationship and be bisexual. That's literally me.
You also can never label yourself as anything. Like,
Yeah,
you
so-
never have to put a label on things.
So whether she calls herself a lesbian or not is not really important. She's in a lesbian facing relationship and it sounds like she's with a wonderful partner. And I hope that you come to this place at some point that you have unlearned your biases and see how I'm struggling with the right wording of not trying to be too attacking of like how silly that is. And like, I just think the world would be a better place if more people could not give a shit about who another person loves.
Like Dayna said, I'm very happy that you're here because I feel like your openness and your like unpacking that you're already doing of some of the views that you've had growing up, the indoctrination that's been a part of you is very real. But yeah, I think what Dayna says is the most important thing. Like, why do you feel this way? Why is the inkling of hope even there and existing? Yeah. Is it because of the optics? Is it because of the way people view you and view your daughter and they're just thinking maybe that it reflects negatively on you and her upbringing, which is so not accurate because you are such a loving mom. And like the fact that they would think that that had anything to do with your parenting just shows how little they know. If I was in your position, my child's happiness would be the most important thing and having someone love them better than anyone I could ever imagine. Because again, a hetero relationship doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean like she's set up for success and now she's going to be happy for the rest of her days, because oftentimes those relationships are extremely abusive emotionally and physically. So I think as long as that's not existing in our relationships, whoever that person is right for them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Allison, do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
I think some of the hardest parts about being queer and like being out was my parents, and their biggest fear was the world, but they actually made it the hardest thing for me to face. And it was because they also told me it's not their first choice, but they just want me to be happy. And, you know, we can only hope that maybe one day you'll end up with a man because you don't know yet. But I knew for a long time. And I think something that really means a lot to me now is my parents' curiosity. I think a lot of the time they said things out of fear because they just weren't familiar with queerness or anything. But I think the biggest thing that you can do to show support to your daughter is to just ask her questions and just be there for her. You know, I'm reading what you say about your husband. He's the best father, husband, and best friend anyone can ask for. And I could say the same exact thing about my wife, and it has nothing to do that we're the same sex. I think, you know, your daughter has been in a relationship for 2 years, which is a really long time, I would say. Sounds like she's with someone who really cares about her and vice versa. And that should be the thing you're most excited about. And like Dayna said, like she could end up with a man and maybe that's what you would hope for, but maybe it's not going to be as good as when she was with a woman. What you need to focus on is how is my daughter being treated and is my daughter happy?
I love it.
Allison, you just made me misty-eyed when you were talking about Max. I mean, it's so true. And again, I hope we didn't lose you. I hope that was a productive discussion. I feel like it was, but I'm really glad that you're, like Allison said, about having those curiosities. Now, we hope for that outwardly with your daughter, but I'm glad that you're having them internally. That's where you start.
Yeah, and I think I thought of something when Alice was talking, that presenting it as like, well, it's not our first choice, but as long as you're happy, that just makes someone feel disconnected from their parents, that they're like a letdown in some type of way just because they want to be themselves authentically. So I think the messaging is also very important, that what you say to your daughter.
Thank you for writing that in.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay.
The fact that you wrote in means a lot too. So,
And also you're listening through the like butt talk and like all the gay shit. So like, I don't know. I feel good about you being here and your journey. So
Absolutely. All right. Sydney says, help me feel less crazy. Hi, ladies. Let's keep this short and sweet. I ended a 2.5-year relationship after I had become completely mentally and physically checked out of it. The guy was great and honestly probably would have been someone I just should have settled with, but I couldn't do that to him or myself. Like a dumbass, I went back to my semi-toxic ex almost immediately after the breakup, which crushed my good ex's heart. Now here's where I need the help. It's been 3 months and I just found out good ex is seeing a girl in the town next to where our shared home was. I also know her from my circle of friends, And when I found out, I was ugly crying, laying in bed, feeling bad for myself. Why do I feel this way, seeing as I'm the one who broke up with him? I want to go back to him and can also be honest in saying that I didn't really miss him other than the fact that we were best friends. Help me out here. I feel extremely selfish that I'm upset that he's moving on and finding happiness again. WWDD. Sorry if this seemed like a ramble. The emotions are still high. Love you guys and just know your podcast has made me smile during some lows. Disrespectfully, Sydney. I think this is something that a lot of people kind of find themselves doing. It's a part of like guilt, a part of maybe regret, and also just like a little bit of pettiness or just, I think I've been there too, where it's like someone's like really great and everything was fine, but it just wasn't for you. But like you kind of wanted to keep them a little bit available to you just in case. You weren't ready to settle then, but you knew like, they're not all that bad, which is unfair to do to yourself and to them, especially if you still care about them and you're like friends with them and everything's cool. So I think this is just something that you're going to have to not be the victim in the situation of, and just be happy for them. And you made your decision and now you got to lie in it. And also understand like why you felt that this was settling. I mean, like you cannot argue with obvious things, but like sometimes love and real like healthy relationships can feel boring. And you feel like you're settling, but it's just because there's not any toxicity that you might be used to that might feel like things are exciting, and that chemistry and the butterflies are all your nervous system telling you that something's off. So when your nervous system is at peace and it's regulated, you can feel like things are boring because where's the excitement? Where's the stress? So I'm not saying that's exactly what it was. You know yourself better than anything like that. But I think it's an important thing to sit with because as I've gotten older, that's something that I've absolutely had to learn. And it's eye-opening.
Yeah, I feel like I have a slightly different take, but echoing what you're saying, I agree that is totally true and something I've very much had to unlearn with my attachment style and like what I'm seeking. And we do better with the chaos we know than the calm that we don't. But it is also possible, kind of like you're saying too, that it is settling.
I'm just trying to present another idea that you're not considering.
And here's the thing. Settling, I think it's like sounds like an ugly word sometimes, but it's like one man's trash is another man's treasure. It doesn't mean it's not reflective of the other person. So yeah, maybe it would have been settling for you of like what you needed, but I'm sure he's going to be a great partner for someone else. And I'm glad you made that decision. I'm also have compassion for what you're feeling because that's the human condition. When we've had love with someone, when we've had a connection with someone, it's usually hard to see them moving on, even if you know it's the right thing, even if you are the one that made the decision, it doesn't mean it's not difficult. So I think that you're really self-aware in this moment, which is important. But I, like Katie said, I just think you have some more inward reflecting to do. And I think you made the right choice. And I think that sometimes when we're like wondering if we made the right choice, what I tell myself is you have to make it the right one because it's the one you made. So how do you make it the right one? Like let him move on, let him go. And I think this will set you up better for your next relationship to be like now taking this time to do this work,
Yeah, absolutely. Because I want also to consider why you went back to the toxic ex immediately after. It's like it's like you were like wanting to feel that was comfortable for you, even though you knew it was wrong. So I mean, like maybe sit with that a bit.
Anonymous says, please just use Anonymous as my name. Check. Hello, my favorite ladies. I look up to you both in so many ways. Thank you for being such lights in my life every week. Okay, so here's a sitch. I'm 35. I've been dating a guy for over 3 years. We live together, are super secure, and everything is overall awesome. Emotionally, in bed, we are best friends, etc. The problem is we dated in college like 12 years ago. We were serious back then and lived together also. It ended well. We were just young and dumb. We never had contact at all through the years until we got back together. It wasn't one of those text every now and then things. It was completely on, completely off, and then completely on again. Now, I find myself being irrationally jealous about the people he dated in those 12 years. Like, I don't usually do this with people because who they date before me is their business, right? But with this guy, it's different. I look at their photos, I compare myself, I get jealous that one lived in the house I now live in. I try to find things of hers. Once found an earring and almost lost my mind. I've also put on a bit of weight and she was really petite, and I spiral about that internally a lot. I don't tell him these things because I don't want to seem that crazy. I know it's something I need to go through on my own without dragging him into the toxicity. Please, please, please enlighten me with your wisdom on how to stop being a dumbass and to get out of my own way. Thanks, babes. Okay, well, first of all, this is normal. Like there are certain people that just get under our skin for no particular reason. And I think that this is, it sounds like your end game relationship. So it's like, it was such a like gray area in terms of you guys weren't speaking at all, which is so healthy, by the way. Like the way you've done this, I have faith about your guys' longevity as a couple. But it was an important person to you. Someone else lived in your home. So like if it's possible, perhaps you guys move to a new shared space that is a fresh start. But in general, I think that there is unfortunately not a magic solution we can give you about this, because some of it I do think is just stuff we need to work with. I think it's important, if you have the resources available to you, to do some therapy, to talk with a neutral third party about it. If not, find your safe person in your life to tell them like you're going through these things, because it's really hard to harbor that alone and feel crazy. And I guarantee you, one of your friends has also experienced this. I also think that it's like I was just saying on the last one, admitting you have the problem is the first step. So I'm glad you're recognizing this isn't a him problem. Like, so I'm glad you're not bringing him into it. It is inward work you need to do. And I just think that, like I said, it's just the human condition. So it's eventually, take a look inside as to why these specific people with this person in your life is bothering you, and how you can feel all those feelings to set them free. And like, I think we've talked about before, that book, The Untethered Soul, when it talks about your roommate in your brain, and when you have one of these intrusive thoughts, and I'm obviously the queen of that, so this is not me judging, but when you have them, like picture it as a little monkey in your brain and be like, oh, look at that little monkey, and then send it on its way. Because that's all it is. It's just your shit fucking with you.
Yeah, this is 100% insecurity. And I'm not sitting here calling you an insecure person, but this is an insecurity that all of us share, some, on varying levels and degrees. You want it to be your fairy tale. So the fact that there was anyone in between the times that you spent, because you want to make it seem like in your head, like we were this great love, now it didn't work out, then we found our way back to each other, and all that in between kind of ickies up the place. It stinks it up a bit, which is like fair and fine, but like this is not rooted in anything factual in terms of like being a threat to your relationship, period. I think that's what you have to remind yourself, is just like, this isn't real.
And also maybe a good practice is every time this happens, the little monkeys in your brain, tell yourself, he chose me. We chose each other. Not even in like a snarky way, but just remind yourself, like, you're the one in the relationship.
Not every relationship works out. Otherwise we would all meet someone and that'd be the end of it. So like finding each other through all of the billions of people on earth and ending up together, like, that's pretty awesome. You don't get that with everybody. Obviously, otherwise you would have found someone a long time
unless
ago.
you're a penguin, in which case you get one and done, and being a penguin sounds hard. So you don't want that. Anyway.
They're intrusive thoughts. You spiral, you compare, and you just have to like stop those thoughts the minute that they begin, and then focus back on like the reality, because they're not real.
Yeah. Hope that helps.
Got one more. Anonymous says, please. Hi, angels. I've written in a few times and you've responded, and I love it. Sending love and light. I'm 29 and a woman. I have recently started to reflect on my mental space as it relates to dating. I have been single now for 3 years after a broken engagement that came out of nowhere and rocked my world. Though I spend my time with my family, I have lots of great friends and I see them a lot and have a great career trajectory. I fear I invest too much of my mental space in dating. Should I stop investing so much in dating? And if so, how do I do it? I swipe a lot and go on a couple of first dates a month. I haven't met anyone I'm interested in and nervous about when I'll meet my person. But again, it's not as though I've recently met anyone I've actually wanted to date. Should I pick up a hobby? Barf, what would I even do? I think I'm just panicked about how much mental space rather than actual time I devote towards dating, and would love some advice. Should I take a break and delete the apps for a bit? Don't love the idea of being celibate though. How do I stop obsessing? Therapy? Any book recommendations for this? LOL. Thanks, both. Yeah, I would absolutely recommend taking a break. Like fully, completely do a little like soul searching, like really kind of become rooted in like who you are and your identity and what you love and your friends. And I think just naturally that will come. So you do have to stop obsessing about it. And that comes from just doing the fucking mental work that you have to do in order to do that. Therapy could help. Reading could help. But I think spending all that time that you are devoting to dating and thinking about it, putting it all back on yourself. That's like just the most simple answer I can give you, because when you start ruminating and then you start obsessing and like, why am I not meeting my person? You're putting so much pressure on it that like you don't stand a chance as it is. Like you are completely getting in your own way. So take a break. hang out with your friends, hang out with yourself, just do things for yourself that don't involve anyone else. And who knows, you might meet someone along the way, but that's not the purpose and that's not the goal. The goal should not be the finding the person. The goal should just be being happy.
Yeah, you might find like you're behind the 8 ball, but I'd actually say that you're ahead of the game because so you're 29, you're so young.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get to this place until I was like 32 or 33. And I realized that Gabby Bernstein, who's one of the books I'm going to recommend to you, the author, she calls it manic manifesting. I didn't realize like all my dating was manic manifesting because I was so obsessed with like, am I going to meet my person? What is it going to look like? Do I want kids? So I have to do on this time frame. Everyone around me is married. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, look back at that. And I was like, that was first of all, so unfun. And when you're not having fun, things are just not going to happen. Like joy is truly a super attractor, fun and joy. And so if you're not finding fun in what you're doing, and as someone who has been on and off dating apps for years, you know when you need to get off. Like, so and give yourself a significant period of a break. You're absolutely right about that. I would say for dating for me, the 2 books that impacted me the most were The Universe Has Your Back and Attached, which I've talked about both of those a lot of times. But yeah, there are only so many books you can read and therapy you should do. And I recommend all of those things. But I recommend even more doing the inward searching as to where is this coming from? Because it's ruminating and it's such a big thing because I'm guessing that you haven't decentered it. And when you really look at it, you'll understand because you're saying it's not as much about time, but it being so on your mind. I didn't enjoy a single first date in my late 20s and early 30s because every single one I was checking lists in my head and like, what is this going to be and whatever. And I'm like, that is not fun. And also that energy reads to other people.
Mm-hmm.
And now I am truly at such a placid time in my life of like, I am single. I talk about it a lot on this show, but like I have some more joy than I've ever had. And I just have more trust that whatever that's going to look like for me, I don't know that I'm going to meet the love of my life and that's going to be my story. But what I do know is no matter what happens, is it's my highest good. Whereas before it was coming from a low vibrational place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great.
So take some time. And also, yeah, being celibate sucks because I also don't fuck randoms, which is so lame. I wish I could. It's just not a good time for me. Not saying I haven't done it in my life, but I just recognize myself in this moment of I would do that of like celibate. Do I want kids? Blah, blah, like all these things as to why I should keep going. Just take the break. Yeah, It's not. Yeah, there are pros and cons to being single. You need the time right now.
Hope it helps.
This felt like kind of a big episode, so I hope we covered a lot of stuff.
We did. But that's it. That's the episode.
Let us know if you can picture an apple. That's important to us later.
Yeah.
And just have a great weekend. Promise us.
Yeah, have a great weekend. And make sure you send in your hometown heroes and WWDDs to disrespectfullypod@gmail.com.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Babe, you're going to see the power of women. Like,
Disrespectfully.